For that is a lone, undefeated demon king, a tempest wrapped in solitude, yearning desperately to taste defeat just once. He craves to be seen as ordinary, but all foes who could challenge him have vanished, even his closest friend. So he decides to reincarnate, hoping for a sweeter, more colourful life. Thus, the Demon King awakens anew as a mere mortal named Ak. Today, Ak's parents throw a grand party to celebrate his 10th birthday, filling him with joy. Yet Ak senses the magic of this era is far weaker than his old worlds. Still, he trains relentlessly, honing both martial arts and magic. When asked about his dreams, Ak boldly declares his vow to make friends. Hearing children playing outside, he steps out and eyes fixed, waiting for someone to welcome him. But when he tries to approach, the kids flee in terror, scared of the demon. Frustrated, Ak switches tactics to a bold, direct approach, but the girl's presence twists his nerves into knots, pain tightening his stomach. They glare at him frightened and scatter. Yet Ak runs after them, pleading for friendship, and even promises to share half his kingdom. The kids, stunned into silence, dash away, leaving Ak simmering in bitter defeat. Angered by fate's cruel joke, Ak retreats into the forest to cool his temper. By evening, he sits brooding, heart heavy from friendship's elusiveness. Then Ohi advises him, be calm and courteous. True friendship blooms naturally. Enlightened Ak sets off to practice. His odd behaviour alarms his parents, who exchange worried glances with Ohi. Despite Ak's earnest efforts, everyone rejects him, pushing him back into the shadows. Once again, Ak vents his frustration on wild beasts. Suddenly, a girl's voice draws his attention. He finds her fiercely battling a wolf. Ohi shares that the girl's heart was once shattered by cruel words and mockery, causing her to shut herself off. Her parents understand her loneliness deeply and believe retreating from the bustling capital to this quiet place was the right choice. At that moment, Ak's white-haired form summons a thunderous strike, shattering the wolf. Startled by Ak's presence, the girl freezes. Ak praises her talent, but her silence makes him think she dislikes compliments. He teases her gently, saying her technique could use some polish. Unexpectedly, she grows upset, leaving Ak flustered. He confesses his wish to be friends. To his surprise, she doesn't flee. Encouraged, Ak steps closer, claiming they are alike, and destined to build a strong bond. Tears spring from her eyes as she lashes out, accusing him of not understanding her at all, then rushes away. The girl runs into her father's arms, a scene Ak has watched unfold, knowing she is Ohi's neighbour's daughter, Yenna. Determined, Ak pledges to follow her to win her friendship. He even gifts Yenna her favourite flowers, boasting he knows every birthmark she has. Awkwardly funny, he mistakes his humour for charm, only to be met with a fiery torch thrown his way before she retreats indoors. Later, Yenna ventures into the forest to confront beasts again. Ak follows, insisting on escorting her home. Yenna tries to escape, but Ak clings like a shadow, showering her with compliments, claiming she shines brighter than the moonlight. All his efforts fall flat. That night, Ak reflects deeply on his failed strategies. In his previous life, he tried many ways to show his heart, but was met with cold shoulders. Suddenly, chaos erupts outside as beasts attack humans. Just as Ak prepares to fight, Rach appears, swiftly dispatching the monsters and urging Ak to hide inside. He warns that the core of the dungeon beneath the mountain has spiraled out of control, an ominous sign of darker trials ahead. The newly escaped monster suddenly had Ohi rushing over, begging for help, because Yenna was still up on the mountain. Ak thought it was his fault. Chasing after Yenna was what led her there, so Ak vowed to find her and bring her back safely. Meanwhile, Yenna was surrounded by monsters, even being bullied by the pack leader Karkia, who ironically loved to bully others, but was now getting bullied himself. He let her call for help freely, but Yenna had no one. Always shunned by others, she resigned herself to despair. Though she spoke boldly when the monsters lunged, she immediately signalled SOS. At that moment, Ak appeared like a hero, saving the damsel. Yenna urged Ak to run before things got worse, but to him, these monsters were mere minnows. Without even raising a hand, Ak made them scream in terror. The monsters, still unyielding, attacked again, but were shattered into dust by Ak. The pack leader fled hastily, but not far enough. Jar, a boy nearby, had taken care of the chaos, and wondered why Ak hadn't returned yet. Trusting Ak, Ohi believed Yenna would be fine. After clearing the monsters, Ak found Yina only to be confronted by her sharp question, "Why did you save me? I don't even care anymore." Yena confessed her deep pain and wounds no one could see. Ak didn't know what she had endured, but he understood loneliness better than anyone, always craving friendship. Yina feared he was lying destined to abandon her like the rest before. Ak promised he wouldn't repeat those mistakes. He was deeply regretful for betraying a close friend in the past and vowed never to hurt Yina. Yena admitted she was stubborn, selfish, and not very smart, but Ak didn't mind. In fact, he was thrilled to talk with her. As the proclaimed Demon King, Ak swore he would never betray her. Slowly, Yina began to open up and befriend him. Years slipped by in the blink of an eye. One morning, Ak woke with a jolt to find Yina lying beside him. She had come to invite him to enroll together at the Magic Academy. The two arrived and met Principal Gonda, who regarded them as extraordinary prodigies surpassing all standards. Ak sensed something was off since Yina was from the noble baron family, which was well known, while he was just a common villager. It turned out Gonda had heard of their exploits defeating monsters and thus waived their practical exams, though they still needed to pass written tests. Ak felt anxious, unsure how difficult the exam would be, but prepared with earnest dedication. Soon, exam results were posted. Yina's name was proudly displayed, but Ak's was nowhere to be found, sending him into a panic. He couldn't bear the thought of being separated from Yena. Suddenly, Yina noticed Ak's name on the list, but with a score of 0, leaving Ak utterly baffled. Principal Gonda praised Ak as a genius, which made no sense to him. The principal explained that Ak's answers were marked wrong because they challenged the current system's ideology. His ancient knowledge was simply ahead of their time. Ak's innovative ideas about amplifying magical power through special magic circles and transforming magical formulas were revolutionary. Gonda revealed Ak was the son of the great sorcerers Rash and Ka, who 10 years ago had defeated a resurrected evil god and protected peace in the kingdom. Yina shared that Ohai and Ak's parents fought together against the evil god, earning the title of heroic barons. Ak was stunned to learn of his parents' legendary strength. Upon entering class, they were approached by many admirers, though some looked down on Ak. Suddenly, Ak noticed someone bullying a pink-haired girl. Yena stepped up boldly, but Alado, a proud noble from Duke Penn's clan, claimed the pink-haired girl was a servant's daughter and beneath them. Yena had no right to interfere. Ak stood firm and demanded Alado apologize. Alado challenged Ak to a duel confident because he was the youngest prodigy in the country, boasting immense power. Unexpectedly, Olivia, one of the 4 heavenly kings of Vavat, appeared. Ak worried, what was she doing here? Olivia, angered by Ak's abdication and reincarnation, agreed to let them duel to test Ak's true strength. The crowd moved to the schoolyard. Alado launched the first attack, but Ak effortlessly blocked it with his unique magic shield without chanting. Surprised, Alado complimented Ak before retracting his earlier insult, admitting he hadn't fought seriously yet. Alado unleashed a devastating megala attack, which stunned Ak momentarily, as it was just a basic spell with an over-the-top name. Ak mocked how Alado's flashy spell was actually low-grade magic, embarrassing him. Enraged, Alado tried again with a stronger Lassie attack, but Ak was unscathed. He retaliated with a high-quality Jigalai strike that forced Alado to admit defeat and beg for mercy. Ak warned Alado never to confuse low and high-grade magic again. Suddenly, Yina ran over, hugging Ak and warning Alado not to bully others anymore. She promised if the pink-haired girl was threatened, they would come to her rescue immediately. Olivia approached, asking about Ak's use of Jigal and defensive Mega Quay spells. Without these, Alado might have been incinerated to his very cells. Everyone was stunned by Ak's ability to wield dual magic, a nearly lost skill in this era. Olivia was eager to know why Ak could use such magic, and why he lacked basic knowledge here, but she let him off with a warning to explain later. In the next class, Olivia assigned group projects of 3 members. Everyone wanted to join Ak and Yina's team. Olivia then recruited the pink-haired girl Ginny, and introductions revealed her identity. Olivia tasked them with hunting and skinning a black wolf monster, an intimidating B-rank beast. The group was anxious, but Olivia downplayed the mission, teasing Ak with a challenging look that made him nervous. They quickly encountered the monsters, causing Ginny to panic. Ak and Yina swiftly incinerated the beast, but forgot to skin and bring back the pelts. Ginny apologized for being useless. Wanting to boost her confidence, Ak encouraged her despite her worries about being a burden. Yenna reassured Ginny it was fine, they were friends. Ginny initially failed repeatedly and felt discouraged. Ak explained that while Ginny had great magical potential, years of bullying had eroded her self-confidence. The high-quality goods aimed at Elgato forced him to concede and apologize, seeking mercy from the young man. He even dared to intimidate Elgato, warning him not to confuse Jiga with the infamous Dio ever again. Suddenly, Yenna rushed in, embracing him, and warning Elgato not to bully others. She added that if anyone with pink hair felt threatened, just call, and she and her friend would be there in an instant. Just then, Olivia approached, inquiring about the young man's recent actions. She discovered he had just used Jiggle while casting a mega defense spell. Had he not, Elgato could have been incinerated to his very core. Everyone was astonished by his ability to wield dual magic, a technique almost forgotten in this age. Olivia was eager to uncover why he could use it and why he lacked basic knowledge of this world. However, she decided to spare him for now, promising to interrogate him further in their next class. In the next lesson, she instructed everyone to form groups of 3. Everyone wanted to join the young man and Yenna's team, but Olivia had her sights set on recruiting Ginny instead. As they introduced themselves, she learned Ginny's name. Following this, Olivia assigned them the task of hunting a black wolf and bringing it back, which left everyone in shock, since it was a Beeps-ranked monster. Olivia nonchalantly remarked that the task was as simple as a joke, casting a glance at the young man, which made him feel uneasy and eager to leave. Before long, the 3 encountered the pack of monsters, causing Ginny to panic. The young man and Yenna swiftly incinerated them, forgetting to collect their remains. Ginny apologized, feeling helpless. The young man decided to uplift her confidence despite her reluctance to be a burden. Yenna reassured them that they were friends, so Ginny relied on them for support. Initially, Ginny faced repeated failures, leaving her disheartened. The young man spoke of magic, noting that she had great potential. However, bullying had gradually eroded her confidence. Just then, a monster approached, prompting him to use a technique he had created called zip magic, to attack it, leaving both girls astonished. He instructed them to activate a magic circle in their minds, to transform the ambient energy into power, a method that wouldn't deplete their mana and would keep their status intact. Ginny successfully created the circle and defeated the monster, filling her with joy as she ran to embrace the young man. Yenna, noticing this, urged Ginny to quickly collect the remains of the black wolf. Unfortunately, they fell into a boss room in the dungeon. This was an opportunity for the young man to teach his friends about zip magic. The first lesson was to use a repelling strike in close combat, which proved very effective. The second was to cast a spell immediately upon spotting an opening in the opponent's defense. He explained that the beauty of zip magic is its ability to fire in quick succession without consuming mana, and the speed at which they could cast the magic circle was also rapid. When the monster finally collapsed, he encouraged Ginny to deliver the finishing blow, as this was her moment to shine. He began their lesson on zip magic tactics. First, in close combat, using a push-back strike is incredibly effective at keeping enemies at bay. Second, unleash your spell the moment an opening appears. Ake explained the beauty of zip magic, the ability to chain spells rapidly without draining mana, and the speed of casting magic circles is lightning fast. When Mino finally collapsed, AK called upon Ginny to finish him off. This was her moment to shine. In the past, Jin had always avoided reality, hoping for someone as wonderful as the Dark Lord to save her. But now she would face it head-on and decisively strike down Mino. Both Akira and Yenna praised Jin, which deeply moved her. The 3 then brought their spoils back to Olivia. Jin even boasted about how Akira had taught them the zip magic skills, prompting the young man to quickly clarify that she was mistaken. Alada remarked that Jin was just a pathetic Klingon, making Akira seem truly unfortunate. So, Jin demanded that he take back his unkind words about Akira. Alada teased her, suggesting she had a crush on him and would have to compete with Yenna. Jin responded with a slap, only to be ambushed by Yenna, forcing her to run away. Watching their close-knit friendship bloom filled Akira with happiness. However, Akira's smile faded when Olivia suddenly wanted to have a serious talk with him. The next day, Gondi wanted Akira to participate in an event to showcase an impressive performance before the Queen. He immediately declined leading the principal to explain that this event was a unique opportunity to boost their budget. Akira felt down, realizing that the old man saw him merely as a tool for financial gain. Gondi insisted he was worried about the academy's future. Akira felt conflicted because magic was meant to help those in need, but now he was being asked to perform for the budget, which was quite a dilemma. Olivia then pointed out that he was contradicting his noble ideals. She recounted how her brother Ketch had said the same thing before he decided to reincarnate, leaving her unsure of what those noble ideals truly meant. Hearing this, Akira asked Gondi for time to think. The young man found himself in a tough spot. Refusing could lead to expulsion, while accepting would reveal his strength to Olivia. Suddenly, Jin rushed to him wanting to go on a date. Even though he wanted to go, Akira feared he was indulging in unrealistic hopes and considered turning her down. But alas, the hero could not escape the charms of a beautiful woman, so he reluctantly agreed, not wanting Jin to call him San. She had already started calling him Akira instead. Just then, Yina appeared unexpectedly, wanting to join their date. They both agreed to the arrangement, as Yina wanted to set up a fun experience for Akira. Unaware of what fun truly meant, Jin had to explain it to her. Upon hearing, Yina was completely taken aback. The next day, Akira and Yina arrived at the meeting spot to find Jin. As soon as the two beautiful girls met, they were all smiles, making Akira happy too. He complimented Jin's outfit, which made Yina eager for praise as well. Afterward, the three entered the auditorium to watch a play about Vavat. Akira was shocked to find he was watching a play about his own life. When the battle scene began, Jin suddenly hugged him tightly, making Akira realize that the latent magic within her was awakening unconsciously. He was completely taken aback. Yena closed in, gazing at the luscious orchard before him, forcing himself to suppress dark intentions. The staged scene unfolded. Lydia appeared gentle, caring for Vavatot. But Aik sensed something was off. The girl, leaning on the Demon King's lap, was a glaring red flag. He uncovered a harsh truth: Lydia was fiercely combative, never taking orders from Aik. Then came the moment she presented flowers. To Vavatot, Aike's disbelief grew deeper. This false play wore on Aik, draining him as he endured the lies about himself. Meanwhile, Ginny radiated joy at being here with Aik. Seeing this, Yena's jealousy flared, pulling the young man away for lunch. But Ginny refused to yield, insisting on taking them to a fantastic restaurant. Passing through the red light district, Aik had to shield Yena's eyes. Suddenly, all three overheard a plot, a group scheming to control the queen. If they completed their magic circle, she'd never escape. Aik, hearing this, decided to track the conspirators. The two friends insisted on joining, and he reluctantly agreed, promising to protect them. They descended into a basement and found the magic circle. At that moment, their presence was detected and threats followed. But Aik guessed the enemies didn't intend to kill them, just capture. Unexpectedly, the leader unleashed a burning spell on Aik. Yet, the attack was no match for Aik. He shattered the magic circle, sending the foes into chaos. The young man was too busy with a date to waste time on them, so he activated his skill, vanishing the crowd in an instant. He demanded the leader reveal why they targeted his group, promising mercy for the truth. But the leader morphed into a demon and shattered the wall to escape. Aik vowed to pursue, puzzling his friends, since the demon could fly. Yet Aik too took to the skies, quickly igniting a fiery trap. The villain grabbed a young girl hostage, sparking panic. Aik declared himself the son of a broken warlock and vowed to punish the demon. The girl somehow returned safely to her mother. It turned out Aishia used illusion magic to trick the demon, then struck him with a dazzling beam that sent the fiend packing. Afterward, the mother thanked Aik for saving her child. The crowd hailed him as a hero, and through this Aik glimpsed the stunning queen, but his gaze didn't go unnoticed. An old man scolded him for disrespect, but the queen defended that admiring her beauty was a natural law of all things. Meanwhile, Aik wrestled with how to avoid joining the battle event, yet still secure the school's budget. Suddenly, Yena called out the queen's name, drawing sharp criticism for insolence. But to everyone's surprise, Yena claimed that the two were close friends. The queen granted the younger one exemption from formal greetings with me and warned that anyone who bullied Yena would have to answer to her. The queen promised that the heroic act of saving someone would be rewarded by becoming her consort, and even talked about wanting to have a child with him. Naturally, this was something he couldn't accept, while Ginny wanted her to join the Demon Queen's faction. The Queen laughed it off and then bestowed the title of Dark Magic Knight of the Pentagon rank upon her. However, he pleaded with the Queen to increase the budget for LaVille Academy because he wanted to repay Gondi's continuous support. The Queen saw the boy's kindness and decided to grant both the title and increase the Academy's budget. But an old man disagreed, so she also gave Yena the Pentagon rank so she and the boy could join the Queen's army together. Ginny was also appointed as Qianlei, which made her very happy, while the boy was mentally shaken because he didn't want this at all. Meanwhile, some mysterious black-clad figures prepared a formidable warrior to confront him and plotted to restore the world's order. The next day, a female student confessed to him, but he wasn't interested in romance and asked if she'd be his friend instead. She then revealed a sinister face and wanted to cook rice with him. At that moment, Yena watched them with a fierce glare, scaring the girl away. The boy thanked his friend for her help, but Yena sulked and stormed off. Over here, Gondi spoke to a girl about the boy skipping the competition event, yet the Academy still got a budget boost from the Queen. Actually, Gonde wanted the boy to become an instructor, but since few accepted a commoner's son for the role, he purposely arranged for him to join the event to boost his reputation. That girl offered to take on the task from the principal. That night, while the boy was pondering how to make peace with Yena, Ginny barged into his room, showing off a seductive outfit. She aimed to claim the top spot in his heart and began to charm him. Meanwhile, Yena realized her unwarranted anger and chose a beautiful outfit to reconcile. But Ginny used a magic eye to immobilize the boy completely. Ginny then tried to steal his innocence, but Yena suddenly appeared and caught the scene beating her friend mercilessly, while the boy was innocent in all this. Yena said she wanted to make peace with him, but was teased by Ginny. "What's with the spotless outfit?" Back when Yena's mother taught her, she said that wearing pretty clothes in front of a boy makes them agree to any request. Ginny laughed at Yena's childish charm, which annoyed her deeply. Since Ginny started clinging to the boy, other girls also flocked to him, making Yena uneasy. She couldn't tolerate Ginny's teasing and challenged her if Yena won. Ginny must keep her distance. If Ginny won, Yena had to parade shirtless through the capital and eat mooncakes with her nose. The boy couldn't stand it, and made them both kneel and apologize to each other, or else no dinner for anyone. So they made peace until Jessica suddenly barged in. Jessica told them to settle the score at the upcoming competition event. Winning would help the boy become an instructor, as Gonde wished, since he was training the two girls. If they won, it would prove the boy's ability. Yena was reluctant because the boy always said his power was meant to protect others. Jessica revealed the new instructors would get to wear super cool outfits, manipulating the two girls' minds, so they agreed immediately. Soon, the competition day arrived. In the first match, Lemon dominated her opponent spectacularly. Ohi was amazed at her skills and praised Louis' exceptional observational abilities. Meanwhile, Wretch was bored like a fried snack while Carr was busy ogling the girls. Olivia complimented their talents so much she even wanted to take them as disciples. The boy listened, still unsure who they were talking about. At that moment, Lee made a stunning comeback and won her match. Then, it was Yena's turn to fight. If she won, the boy would become an instructor. He hoped they'd lose without injury. At first, Yena was overwhelmed by her opponent, but seeing the boy inspired her to unleash a fierce and brilliant attack, defeating her opponent and claiming the first victory. On her way back, she met Ginny and wished them both success in the next round. After much effort, the two finally met in the final match. Ohi noted his daughter's progress was all thanks to the boy's careful guidance, yet the boy's impressive skills made him slightly uneasy. Olivia eagerly awaited their duel, but before they could showcase their skills, demons suddenly appeared wreaking havoc. Jessica announced she would lead Yena and Ginny to handle the threat, while the boy and Olivia had to fight alone. The boy's parents and Ohi wanted to assist, so everyone split up to act. While Yena was successfully defeating demons, Ginny unfortunately got overwhelmed. Yena rushed to save her, knowing if Ginny fell, there'd be no winner. But forget all that because a new enemy appeared completely unharmed by their attacks. Luckily, Ohi arrived and unleashed a full-force attack that shattered the foe. Yena felt proud of her father, but he suddenly took a critical blow from Jessica. She revealed her true identity as the Mad Dragon King Elsa, and that today's events were all a trap to capture Yena. Ginny immediately attacked Elsa to give Yina a chance to escape. However, Ginny was quickly defeated and nearly lost her life. Yina rushed in to stop Elsa but took a devastating blow herself. Knowing she was no match for Elsa, Yina surrendered and warned her that if Ginny was harmed, she would log out Elsa without hesitation. Elsa then transformed into her true form and took Yina away, leaving Ginny helpless. Fortunately, Ohi had awakened healed by the boy and recounted how his daughter was kidnapped by Elsa. Gondi recognized Elsa as the ancient monster who nearly destroyed the world thousands of years ago. The boy didn't care about the enemy's origins and resolved to rescue his friend, which made Wretch proud of her son. Hearing this, Ohai allowed the boy to use the royal treasury's treasures. When asked about his relationship with Ohi, the boy shared that Yina once found everyone scary, and her instincts told her their secrets couldn't stay hidden forever. But meeting the boy changed her. Being the adversary of Elsa, Yena had no choice but to surrender to her warning Elsa that if she harmed Ginny, she would log out immediately. Elsa then transformed back to her true form and took Yena away, leaving Ginny helpless. Thankfully, Ohi had awakened, having been healed by the young man. He recounted how his daughter was kidnapped by Elgato and revealed that the Dragon King was a monster that nearly annihilated the world thousands of years ago. The young man, undeterred by the enemy's background, resolved to rescue his friend, which filled Ohi with pride for his son. Hearing this, Ohi allowed the young man to access the royal treasury and asked about the relationship between father and son. He then shared that Yena had always found everyone intimidating, and her instincts told her that their secrets could not remain hidden. The dark truth loomed large, and the battle for friendship, trust, and survival was about to reach its fiercest peak. Yet Yena has changed since meeting the villain. Ohi hesitates to reveal the truth, fearing the loss of a precious friend. Yena now finds herself trapped in a nightmare, fearing that the villain will abandon her upon discovering her true identity. When she awakens, she realizes she is on the brink of becoming a sacrificial offering. The reason for her capture: the villain seeks the blood of her lineage to summon a monstrous deity. Yena will be the vessel to awaken this dark god, capable of wreaking havoc upon the world. Even now, Elsa clings to this twisted ambition, fueled by chaos from centuries past. Yena defiantly declares that such a plan will never succeed, for the hero will surely come to save her. Elsa acknowledges the hero's strength, but reminds Yena that he is merely human, threatening that once the truth is revealed, the hero will despise her. Meanwhile, Ginny rushes to join the hero in his quest to rescue Yena, but the danger is too great for her to accompany him. Once filled with insecurities over her inability to make friends, Ginny now sees Yena as a true companion, worth risking everything for. In a moment of camaraderie, Yena asks Ginny to prepare a grand feast, a delightful distraction, as they await the hero's arrival. As the young man prepares to set out on his mission to save Yena, Ginny rushes over. This journey is perilous, and the demon cannot take her along. Ginny has long struggled with self-doubt. No matter how hard she's tried, making friends felt impossible. Yet Yena, indifferent to danger, risks everything to save Ginny, seeing her as a true friend. Suddenly, the demon asks Ginny to prepare a feast to welcome Yena back before they depart. When he calls himself Ginny's friend, her heart swells with warmth. Just as Yena is about to become prey to a monstrous beast, in a blink, it vanishes, obliterated. Overjoyed to see the demon arrive in time, Yena rushes into his arms, tears streaming down her face. It's been ages since Elsa met a worthy opponent like him, and she's thrilled by the challenge. The demon sneers, calling Elsa a mere nuisance unworthy of his time. In response, she reveals Yena's true name, La Vile, and exposes her royal bloodline, the lineage of the fallen gods. Meanwhile, Ohi recounts to Jack how in their world, where the demon lord is revered, all fallen gods are despised as like abominations. If people knew the truth, they would reject them utterly. Thus, Ohi had entrusted someone else to take charge, filled with dread that his daughter might lose a precious friend. However, Ak cared little for Yena's lineage. All he knew was that she was kind-hearted and braver than anyone else in the world, deserving of love and respect, not scorn as a monster. In that moment, Elsa unleashed her ultimate technique against Ak, but he parried with his spear, which had the ability to nullify lightning-based magic attacks. Soon after, Ak struck her with a burning blow that pierced to her core, and he followed it up with a powerful thrust of his spear that sent her flying. Yena thought it was over, but Elsa quickly recovered, fiercer than before. Ak swiftly conjured a protective barrier and advised Yina not to watch the battle any longer. With that, he recited a glorious tale of a lonely king. He summoned Lydia and activated a defensive shield to withstand Elsa's onslaught. Lydia transformed into a sword for Ak to wield against Elsa. She detected a surge of magical energy beneath them, capable of forming a massive magic circle. Ak instructed her to prepare an acceleration spell, planning to counterattack once they dodged the next blow. However, when Ak launched his strike, Elsa evaded effortlessly, taunting that Yina would surely betray him because there was no love or friendship in this world. At that moment, Yina encouraged Ak not to lose her words, reigniting his spirit as he transformed into a fused demon warrior. Just as Elsa prepared to deliver a finishing blow to Ak, he launched a devastating counterattack. The true strength of Ak was not just in his mastery of magic, but in understanding the psyche of his opponent. He recognized Elsa's resentment, knowing she was the only one cast into solitude by the world. Yet Ak would not spare her for her personal vendetta that endangered Yina. Elsa, unwilling to accept defeat, sought to turn the tide. Thus Ak and Lydia channeled their magic to unleash an ultimatum, officially granting Elsa a ticket to leave this world. Afterward, Ak asked Yina if she still wanted to be friends with him. She joyfully replied yes, expressing her hope that he would continue to support her despite his knowledge of her secret. That determination fueled Yina's desire to grow stronger, to aid him somehow. Sifi summoned a sword, effortlessly dispatching the monster in an instant. She aspired to be the strength of Lydia, preventing unnecessary sacrifice. However, Sifi suddenly noticed her own body reeking after 3 years of intense training without a bath. Stepping outside, she was astonished by how much had changed. Suddenly, a mysterious figure approached, congratulating her on returning after 3,000 years of arduous training. Sifi found it perplexing, having been gone for only 3 years, yet somehow becoming an ancient person. The flow of time in the dungeon differed drastically from the outside world. To prevent others from thinking she was out of touch, Sifi pretended to already know about it. The figure revealed that both they and Lydia had once served under Vavat. Sifi inquired about the Demon King, but the figure merely remarked that he had perished. Yet Vavat had been reincarnated under the name Ak, and was now living a peaceful life. He mentioned if Sifi was curious about her sister, she should seek out Ak. At that moment, teacher Gonde announced that a festival would be held next month to welcome and showcase guests marking the 100th anniversary. Gonde intended to perform a play instead of a combat event, and both girls agreed with Ak also not declining. The headmaster felt assured that with Ak's participation their attendance would be as plentiful as fresh shrimp. Gondi then showed them a threatening letter he had received. He had faced harassment every year, but this time it was peculiar because the sender was G. Agu. Thus, Gondi asked Ak to perform in the play, while patrolling the academy, believing only he could handle the threat. Yenna and Ginny offered to assist him, but Ak declined, fearing they would be caught in danger. Little did he know both of them wanted to fight alongside him just to see his cool side. Since Ak couldn't patrol the entire academy alone, Olivia began recruiting help for him, while Ginny suggested they perform a play about the adventures of Demon King Vavat. Suddenly, Sifi burst into the classroom, demanding to beat Ak up. Olivia intervened, scolding her for still being immature after 3 years. Ak nodded vigorously, convincing Olivia that he was indeed the reincarnated Demon King. Sifi asked where Lydia was and what was up with the Dark God. Ak feigned ignorance, perplexed as to how Sifi knew about his reincarnation, and even Jin believed he was the Demon King, leaving the young man speechless. Sifi threatened Ak, claiming she would turn him into sushi if he didn't confess. Seeing her tactics ineffective, Sifi resorted to provoking Ak by calling him pathetic. In response, Yina angrily challenged Sifi to a duel on Ak's behalf. She saw a reflection of her sister in Yina, momentarily speechless. Yina proudly declared herself as Ak's best friend, while others were merely acquaintances. Upon hearing this, Sifi insisted on becoming friends with Yenna, but she promptly rejected her. Embarrassed, Sifi then demanded a deadly duel with Ak, which Olivia accepted much to Ak's dismay. Sifi scolded him for being a coward, saying he always got stomachaches when it mattered most. Olivia encouraged him to show his true skills, like he did against Elsa. With no other choice, Ak reluctantly accepted the challenge, vowing to do his best to avoid losing to Sifi. Yenna declared that Ak only needed 3 seconds to defeat her igniting Siffi's fury, as she swore to smash him to bits. Yenna boldly claims the demon needs only 3 seconds to defeat her igniting Siffi's fury. She vows to crush the young man to dust. Without hesitation, Siffi launches a lightning-fast assault. Their battle plays out on an entirely different level, and the demon fears his rising fame might spiral out of control. Siffi taunts him, mocking that even if he reincarnated 1,000,000 times, he'd never match her skill. The demon burns with frustration but wills himself to stay calm and find a way to topple Siffi. He aims for her flank, but Siffi anticipates the move and hurls a deadly blade toward him. Instinctively, the demon counters, sending her flying. Struck by his blow, Siffi concedes defeat. He stands victorious. Suddenly, the demon realizes he's been swept up in the heat of battle fighting seriously, when he should have held back. Winning could crown him king. Losing would be a crushing blow. Unwilling to accept defeat, Siffi summons a colossal sword to challenge him anew, but the demon creates a shield repelling the massive strike. Just as she prepares her next move, Olivia steps in to stop her. The sword's swings emanate poison, threatening to harm everyone nearby. Siffi admits her mistake, but argues that these actions pale compared to what the Demon Lord has done. Suddenly, Yenna steps forward, grabbing Siffi's head and demanding an apology for her wrongful deeds. Yenna recognizes Siffi's strength, but refuses to let her harm others with it. Feeling chastised, Siffi bursts into tears, accepting fault. Yenna gently pats her head, comforted by her obedience. Later back in class, the demon announces a play, reenacting the scene where Jin defeats a fallen god. Jin suggests they perform it together. But then, the demon notices Siffi has snuck out of class and is fighting outside. Seeing Yenna arrive, the trio mocks her openly. The red-haired one boasts that the school's centennial festival will be led by nobles, while commoners like them stand no chance to compete. Fueled by determination, Yenna dons her armor and declares she will pour her heart into conquering the festival. And so the battle for pride and recognition begins anew. Yenna apologized for stirring up trouble with them, but the guy totally agreed with her actions, and so did the other classmates. Based on the voting results, the guy was assigned the role of the Demon Lord, while Phi took on Lydia's role and refused to accept anyone else. When the guy mentioned the role of the Dark God, no one wanted it. However, Phi bravely volunteered to take that role as a way to get back at the guy. Once the role settled, the guy wanted everyone to contribute ideas for the festival activities. Ginny suggested opening a maid cafe where they'd fulfill any customer requests. This idea came from Ginny's mother and ended up bringing in the highest revenue in history. Also, Lady Jiang designed the maid outfits, which left the guy speechless. The boys were thrilled by the costumes, but the girls refused to wear them. Yet Ginny argued this was the perfect chance to flirt with the guy, so everyone quickly changed their minds and agreed. The guy decided to go with this idea, but Phi wasn't on board. He knew this activity wasn't exactly proper, though it had high chances of winning an award. Hearing this, Phi reluctantly agreed to wear the maid outfit. Meanwhile, Ginny mocked Phi's flat chest, saying he stood no chance of pulling it off, which really pissed him off. At that moment, the mysterious figure who had been spying on their every move was burning with curiosity, eager to see how Phi would react once he learned the truth from the guy. The next day, the guy and Yenna went on a patrol around the academy, but secretly headed to the Culinary Guild's food court. Everyone there invited Yenna to taste their dishes, making her genuinely happy. Suddenly, an explosion erupted, caused by the mischievous Phi. She immediately suspected the sly old man behind it must be from the demon tribe. Just then, Olivia appeared, explaining that the man was the owner of her favourite potato shop. His cooking was so incredible that she even apprenticed under him. Olivia vowed to protect this man at all costs. The guy was surprised to learn how passionate she was about potatoes. Olivia told Phi he didn't need to patrol anymore, so Yenna suggested she return to class to help everyone out. Yenna felt something strange looking at the giant ancient tree before her. The guy had heard stories that the Third Lava King had sealed something special there, something even IDE didn't know. So the guy asked Olivia about it, but she couldn't reveal any secrets. Olivia then registered both herself and the guy for the upcoming combat event. The young guy hesitated, not wanting to upset his sister, who threatened dire consequences if he refused. Sure. Later, they arrived at the maid cafe, where Fi was visibly irritated because some brat kept touching him inappropriately. Fi used magic to send the kid away. As the guy was about to leave, all the maids begged him to stay. Jin used her hypnotic gaze, making it impossible for the guy to refuse. The moment he stepped inside, the sisters invited him to order from their menu, which was actually all made by them, making the guy blush furiously. Suddenly, Yina scolded the guy for daring to come here while she was out patrolling. Ginny said they were serving him, which made Yina think she could do the same. So she changed into a maid outfit and tried to monopolize the guy's attention, but the sisters disapproved. Fi told them to stop bickering and let her serve the guy. Ginny, however, said just being there was enough to show gratitude. At that moment, the school announced the Sword King tournament would happen tomorrow. The grand prize was a replica of the Holy Sword. Since Gallup, Fi and Lydia were all participating, Ginny wanted to try her luck too. But Yena knew her little friend was scheming some sneaky tricks to get the guy's attention. Ginny realised they still hadn't settled their rivalry and threatened that this time her friend would get a serious beating. Yena wasn't afraid and boldly challenged Lady Jiang. Neither side wanted to back down, which left the guy exhausted. Meanwhile, Fi was determined to win the Holy Sword because it belonged to his sister. The festival day arrived with a dazzling introduction of the guy and Lydia. Next, the MC announced Olivia's name. Since Fi was a monkey zodiac sign, Yena comforted her, saying it wouldn't be long before the quirky foursome easily defeated their opponents. The guy planned to lose on purpose at the finals, knowing that losing here would be seen as intentional. But at the last qualifying match, Ginny appeared. Her opponent was the tournament favourite, just like Olivia. He immediately injured Ginny, making her struggle to win. The guy encouraged Ginny, lifting her spirit, so she struck the final blow in a flash. At that moment, someone called Yena and Fi to help out at the maid cafe. When the guy stepped outside, Ginny invited him to watch the M and Mr. competition. He had to decline because of academy patrol duty. Ginny said the place would be crowded, so he could both have fun and work. Using her adorable face, Ginny begged the guy, who had no choice but to agree. There, the guy spotted an orange-haired brat, who looked very much like Elgato. The moment the guy saw him, the brat jumped in shock, confirming the guy's suspicion. He hadn't expected Elgato to be possessed by a wild boar spirit after such a short time. The brat pleaded, saying he hadn't done anything wrong lately, and begged the guy to spare him. He was here today, just to see Lilith perform. Then, Ginny appeared stronger and more confident than before, which made the guy embarrassed about his unchanged self, aside from gaining weight. Elgato revealed that Ginny's clan's mission was to protect and serve his own family, but gradually she stopped caring. That's why Elgato ended up looking after her instead. Unfortunately, Elgato's father forced him to look down on anyone not of royal blood. To escape his father's pressure, Elgato bullied Ginny, planting deep trauma that haunts her to this day. Thankfully, the guy's presence helped Ginny break free from that dark shadow. The guy asked if Elgato's guilt could ever be healed. Elgato admitted he planned to apologize to Ginny, but didn't have the courage to face her yet. The guy felt the same way. He hadn't told Fi the truth either. After learning the competition results, Elgato left while the guy and Ginny went up on stage to receive their award. Ginny felt a little magical charm must have helped her win. The guy told her she was adorable and encouraged her to be confident. Ginny was thrilled by the compliment and became more lively. When she returned, the boys welcomed her enthusiastically. The maid cafe was bustling with customers, just as they hoped. Yena was quite jealous because she also wanted to join the competition. Soon after the finals started, the guy's opponent was Olivia, making it tough for him to hold back without revealing his true power. Both showed impressive sword skills. With determination, the hero encourages Ginny, telling her how adorable she is, urging her to have confidence in herself. This unexpected praise lights up Ginny's spirit, bringing a sparkle to her eyes. When she returns, she is warmly welcomed by her friends, and the bustling cafe is thriving just as they hoped. However, Yena feels a pang of jealousy towards Ginny, wishing to partake in the competition too. Soon, the final showdown begins, with Olivia as the hero's formidable opponent, making it difficult for him to hold back without revealing his true skills. Both showcase remarkable swordsmanship, until, in a moment of desperation, the hero inadvertently unleashes a powerful spell that sends Olivia flying into the horizon, resulting in his disqualification for using forbidden magic. Olivia too is forced to withdraw as time runs out. In the end, Yina defeated Ginny with just one move. She declared she was best suited to be by the guy's side. Though Ginny lost, she refused to accept it. At this moment, the masked figure. The mask wears a growing frustration as the unfolding events stray far from his grand design. Soon, the day of the play's climax arrives, when Yenna catches sight of Sifi. Memories of her elder sister flood her heart, stirring a nervous tension. Seeing Yina's anxiety, Ak tries to comfort her friend, but his efforts only deepen her unease, making her stammer more. Then the play begins, with Yina leading troops into battle against Sifi's forces. Ak also arrives, but must awkwardly stay in character. This role makes the young man shy as the scene recalls the fierce battle with Avia. Back then, the Demon King planned to charge ahead with Lydia to gather enemy intel. But Sifi, worried for Lydia's safety, insists on taking her place, earning a sharp rebuke from her sister. Meanwhile, the enemy declares they'll grant the heroes a night of rest and play, only to launch their assault at dawn. While Viart sleeps, Sifi confronts him, questioning if he feels useless. Yet both the Demon King and Lydia recognize Sifi's determination. Her harsh words come from a place of care. She refuses to let Sifi sacrifice herself, having chosen her as her successor. Still, Sifi's resolve to support Lydia shines through, so Vat lets her act independently, reminding Sifi to prioritize her own survival. The enemy vows to wield the holy sword, Demit-ite, to annihilate everyone. But as the villains storm the battlefield, they unknowingly step into Sifi's carefully laid traps. Seizing the moment, Lai strikes down the enemy leader. Sifi cheers triumphantly. The snare she set worked perfectly, wiping out the foes. Vat provocatively challenges her next, only to fall into her trap along with his soldiers. Vat asks if she remembers all the trap locations, but this girl's audacity is next level. She's mined the entire battlefield. The Demon King laughs uncontrollably, then playfully punches this reckless girl for acting before thinking. Sifi retorts, and Vat claims responsibility since he promised to cover her actions. The Demon King grumbles that she unknowingly stirred Olivia's fury. Lydia steps in, urging Vat to forgive this wild spirit, praising Sifi's major victory and apologizing for earlier scolding. The play about the Demon King is flawlessly completed by everyone. Ginny beams, grateful that when Yina forgot her lines, Ak swiftly reminded her. Sifi beams with happiness as the performance goes smoothly. Meanwhile, Yenna remains puzzled by the threatening letter's purpose, as no upheaval has yet unfolded. Suddenly, Sifi chases after a white-haired figure, mistaking them for Lydia, when the masked man appears before her. Ginny shares with Ak how oddly Sifi has been acting. He even suspects she's developed feelings for him, and might confess soon. Just then, Sifi heads to meet the young man at the Sword King's ancient tree. As the tournament wraps up, the final match bursts into action. Yenna faces off against Sifi. The referee's signal ignites the fight, and Sifi strikes like lightning, knocking Yina unconscious to claim the championship. That night, Yina tries to stop Sifi from confessing to Ak, but Ginny firmly holds her back. When the young man appears, Sifi declares she'll finish him, and begins unsealing Lydia's holy sword beneath the ancient tree. Drawing the Demit sword, she attacks Ak fiercely. Her strange behavior feels like she's under someone's control. Meanwhile, the masked man watches with dark amusement as Sifi drives Ak away. Earlier, he revealed to Sifi that Ak is the reincarnated Demon King, but she refused to believe it. So he forces her to relive the vision of the Demon King, slaughtering Lydia and manipulating her mind. Defeat. Ak, to avenge her, he commands pushing her into a desperate battle that blurs the lines between friend and foe. Sifi had closed in on Ak, landing a critical strike that sent shockwaves through the battlefield. Yenna's heart soared, thinking Ak had fallen, yet the sacrifice of Lydia weighed heavily on her soul, fueling a fire of bitter resolve. Suddenly, Yina appeared, chastising Sifi, only to be met with a fierce counterattack. Jin arrived just in time to support Yina, but Sukan was caught off guard and struck down by Sifi. As she rushed to confront Yina, Ak commanded her to stop. Ak's hands wielded the magic of dispelling, but it couldn't undo the mental chains binding Sifi. Reluctant to strike her down, Ak invoked Lydia's voice, hoping to break through the haze clouding her mind. At that moment, a masked figure emerged, knocking Sifi down. Ak demanded to know the purpose behind her brainwashing, and the villain sneered, revealing his goal to defeat Ak. Without hesitation, he lunged forward with twin swords, wounding Ak deeply. In a stunning turn, Ak severed one of the attacker's arms. The enemy hastily ascended, attempting to unleash a holy blade to obliterate the kingdom. But weakened by injury, he lacked the strength to wield it, causing the sword to return to Saifi's side. Knowing how to master the holy blade, Ak seized the chance and blasted the enemy away. Then Lydia's spirit appeared beside Saifi, whispering not to blame the Demon King, for he bore no guilt, and urged Saifi to live well in this life, promising they would reunite someday. On a bright, cloud-streaked day, Ak's entire class embarked on an outing. Along the way, two beauties set up a card game to pass the time. Ginny's heartbreak from a crushing defeat drew comfort from Ak and Yina. Then, Ginny drew the Furious Dragon King card, slamming it down in frustration. Ak glimpsed the images of Vader and Lydia on the card, distorted by history's exaggerations. Suddenly, time froze, and the trio found themselves transported to a strange place where they met a mysterious boy whom Ak guessed was a demon. This youth appeared from behind Ak, claiming to be a god. He spoke of countless worlds, futures and pasts, endlessly repeating, yet some sought to break these cycles and reshape the world order. The clash with the Demon King had shaken Ak's realm, profoundly prompting the god to ask Ak to eliminate that threat and survive to return. When the three regained consciousness, Ak realized they had returned to an ancient world. 2 moons hung in the sky, unlike their own merged moon. Ak deduced this land was ruled by the powerful Vava Tot. If they could meet the Demon King here, maybe the situation could improve. And if they could eliminate the menace, as the god demanded, they might return to their future. Yina noticed Jin clinging to Ak, so she moved closer to compete for his attention. Suddenly, they saw a giant being pursued by dead Tinger, a far cry from the creature Ginny had met before. Seeing the girl in danger, Ak stepped in to help. The youth unleashed a devastating strike, reducing the monster to dust. Then Olivia appeared unexpectedly, thanking Ak for saving her subordinate. Ginny and Yina both called out Olivia's name simultaneously, making her wonder if they knew each other. Ak joked that Olivia was just so famous, they had all fallen for her charm. Annoyed, Olivia unleashed her power, knocking Ginny and Yenna unconscious. Only Ak remained alert as she escorted them into the city. Yenna gazed around in awe, feeling as though she had stepped into a legend. While Ak examined 3 cards in his hand, Olivia invited the youth to enlist. She explained that this was an era of legendary heroes clashing, invaded by alien invaders, sparking a fierce war between humans and demons. Vava Tot had created magic for humanity. Impressed by Ak's skills, Olivia set 2 conditions his 2 friends must enlist with him, and Ak wanted placement under Vader's command. Surprised that someone of Ak's strength desired a rear support unit, Olivia agreed, seeing that his friends were just fledgling magic scholars with modest ambitions. Soon, the trio arrived at Vader's research lab, Ak's choice to keep Yina and Ginny safe. Suddenly, the lab exploded. From the wreckage sprang a lively girl boasting about her latest explosive experiment. Though worried Vader might be angry, the girl claimed such chaos was routine and proclaimed herself a genius Vader. Yenna doubted this claim and pulled out a card to compare. Vader scolded them loudly, warning against judging others by appearances, then restored the lab to its original state to welcome guests. Upon learning of their desire to join her unit, Vader smiled brightly. Yenna and Ginny couldn't believe this carefree girl was truly Vader. She swiftly sensed their hidden motives, prompting Ak to reveal they came from the future, which only excited Vader further. Understanding their plight, Vader vowed to protect them and help them return to their time. Suddenly, Saifi burst in demanding reckoning with Vader. Then, Lydia appeared, stunning Ak into silence for 5 seconds. The beautiful warrior urged Vader to bolster her forces, or else, well, that's why the sea is salty. Vader insisted her numbers were sufficient, but Lydia's instincts warned an impending crisis. So Vader entrusted Ak's group to Lydia's command. Lydia's gaze was drawn irresistibly to Ginny's pure spirit. She immediately sought information and invited the girl to her mansion, eager to bond over shared secrets. Discovering Ginny was a fresh recruit only deepened Lydia's fascination, leading her to poke and prod. Seeing this, Ak swept them apart and advised maintaining some dignity. Furious at the disruption, Lydia challenged Ak to a duel. As the battle began, Lydia launched a swift assault, all of which Ak skillfully blocked. Frustrated, Lydia switched tactics, throwing sand into Ak's eyes and beating him mercilessly. But Ak quickly regained his footing and dealt Lydia a crushing defeat. Their fight raged until sunset, leaving Ak battered and bruised, yet defiantly calling Lydia a mere novice. As the youth departed, Lydia urged him to fight on the front lines, stressing how much his talent was needed. The arrival of Lydia leaves the hero momentarily speechless. She orders Vader to bolster their forces, warning that they need to prepare for an impending crisis. Vader insists their numbers are sufficient, yet Lydia's instincts tell her trouble is on the horizon. She entrusts the hero's group to Vader, ensuring they are equipped for battle. Lydia is immediately drawn to Ginny's vibrant spirit, inviting her to her estate, which only deepens her admiration. Seeing this interaction, the hero intervenes, advising Lydia to maintain decorum, lest she ruin the budding friendship, which only angers Lydia further, as she challenges him to a duel. In their duel, Lydia launches a surprise attack, but the hero holds his ground. She quickly resorts to throwing sand in his eyes before landing several blows. Yet the hero retaliates, pushing back fiercely, until the sun dips below the horizon, leaving him battered but defiant, boasting that Lydia is merely mediocre. As he departs, she urges him to fight on the front lines, as his talents are desperately needed. The hero, aware of Lydia's connection to Vavat, seeks her assistance to meet him, but Lydia knows Vavat won't approve and advises the hero to earn his trust first. Later that night, as Jay relaxes in the bath, Lydia enters offering her services. At the same time, Latima announces that the hero will stay at the estate until the next assault, as Lydia considers him a close friend and wants him to feel at home. However, the hero struggles with feelings of unworthiness, haunted by the life he took from her. Just as he contemplates this, ominous sounds draw his attention, and he learns of the escalating war between the demon and human factions. Lydia reveals that a conflict is brewing, and the territories controlled by the demon race are under siege. Many of their strongholds have been obliterated by Lydia's and Vader's forces. As Lydia leads the charge against the enemy, a rescue team works tirelessly to heal the wounded. During their efforts, they stumble upon a body for Vader to investigate. As Yina and Jin prepare to move the supplies, they witness the aid team being ambushed, sparking the hero's resolve to seize this opportunity to prove himself and earn Vavat's recognition. Meanwhile, Siffi and Lydia break through the enemy gates, only to find their leader missing. Suddenly, a report comes in that Vader's reinforcements are being attacked by General Bogan, who boasts of his prowess. As they discovered a corpse for Vader to study, Iena and Jin prepared to move the cargo cranes. Suddenly, the relief squad was ambushed by enemies. Ak immediately saw this as his chance to prove himself and meet Vavat in person. Meanwhile, Siffi and Lydia broke through the castle gates, but found no sign of the leader. Then a messenger arrived, warning that Vader's reinforcements were under attack by General Bogan, an arrogant foe. Boldly, Bogan stepped forward, but was caught off guard by Ak's trap, falling unconscious. When Lydia and Siffi arrived, they found Bogan effortlessly defeated by Ak. Siffi was frustrated. Bogan had been her target all along. Because of this great deed, Ak was granted permission to attend Vavat's audience the next day. Iena and Jin couldn't stop praising the Demon King's castle majestic and pristine. Ak felt proud. But Siffi claimed Lydia's castle was even more magnificent, surprising Ak, who thought she was just teasing him. Ginny felt uneasy as things seemed too smooth. Suddenly, a fiery projectile hurtled toward them, but Ak stopped it just in time. Vavat apologized, explaining it was his unusual way of showing respect. Lydia told Vavat if he wanted to pick a fight, he should challenge Troy instead. But Vavat only wanted to measure his strength against Ak. Then Vavat appeared, causing Ginny to faint dramatically. Ak threatened Vavat to back off, feeling jealous of how close his two friends were with the Demon King. Later, the king invited the group inside. On the way, Lydia teased Ak, saying Vavat missed him deeply. After all, Vavat had no friends but her. As Ak returned, servants hurriedly brought food and drink. Ina admired Vavat's striking beauty, but Ginny said no words could capture the Demon King's allure. Vavat was confused why they called him that, so Ak explained it was just a nickname for His Majesty. Vavat clarified the Demon King was someone else, leaving Ak stunned and apologizing for his odd remarks. Then Ak shared everything with Vader, who hypothesized their histories belonged to different dimensions. Someone must have altered time, causing the Demon King they didn't know to arise. Ak recalled the words of a mysterious god and realized he had misunderstood. This god wanted Ak to defeat the Demon King here to return to his own world. Jin praised Ak's deductive skills. Iana sought Vavat's help, but Veda said it was impossible. The Demon King had appeared 3 years ago, seizing territory between them and Ayot Kingdom. Vavat desperately sought negotiations, but was ignored and had fought the Demon King without success. Jin wanted Vavat to understand they came from the future and the Demon King's threat was grave. Ak caught her meaning, but they hadn't yet earned Vavat's trust to ask for his aid, so Ak needed to prove his worth with a heroic feat. Suddenly, Lydia burst in saying she and Ak would lead the front lines. On their way, she asked why he agreed so quickly. As Ak explained, Sifi threatened him not to steal her glory. Lydia insisted Ak leave the two girls to handle things. End of segment. Staying back was the right call because this time the opponent was a formidable, cursed king. The sinister face instantly paled at the mention of that name. Sifi explained that the demon clan also had ranks like demon sorcerers, and Mad refers to the upper echelon of demons, the great demon realm, on par with the fiercest demons. Naturally, he couldn't forget that enemy because he was the reason Sifi had to slay Lydia. As they arrived at the enemy base, Sifi immediately led the troops into battle. The fierce battle quickly wiped out all foes to clear a path for Sifi. She wasn't impressed, though, telling him not to get cocky after only taking down a few small fries. Lydia happened to arrive, then praising the ferocity of the fight. Since childhood, Sifi had always despised that look in her eyes. Still, he vowed not to let that dark history repeat itself. Suddenly, they noticed the fortress ablaze and rushed over. There, they found the severed head of Mi Valles. Then, a mysterious figure, claiming to be the Demon King, appeared declaring he would seize the land Va'avto aimed for before departing. The next day, Sifi's group was invited to a round-table conference to discuss the Demon King. However, the 7 literary lords opposed their presence. Vavat reminded everyone not to overlook their achievements and resolved to march against the Demon King. After accepting the declaration of war, Sifa urged the entire team to give their all to annihilate the enemy within a day. Not only the 4 heavenly kings, but Vavayat himself would join the battle. Avato and Lydia were thrilled, but the 7 literary lords worried the enemy might attack the city. Vavayat was aware of this risk, which is why he wanted to crush the enemy swiftly. Sifi wondered how His Majesty planned to confront the immortal Demon King, but Vavayat kept his strategy secret, announcing the war would begin in 3 days, with the enemy fortress crushed. Returning, Sifi asked Latima about Lydia's whereabouts and learned she was coordinating her troops. He began to believe history was truly changing. The ones who were meant to die were still alive, and even Lydia was no longer cursed as before. The god had told Sifi to alter history, warning that ignoring this and returning to reality wouldn't be wise. Suddenly, the Demon King appeared, claiming this task wouldn't be easy, and in the end, Lydia would face the same tragic fate. The Demon King revealed that he and Sci-Fi were one and the same, removing his hood to astonish him. Though born into different worlds and circumstances, both were Va'avto reincarnated as demons. The Demon King spoke of his failures abandoning his identity to live under the new name Jog. He had arrived here through that god and agreed with Sifi's proposal. Their goal was to save Lydia and atone for their past sins. Knowing Sifi shared this desire, Jog sought cooperation. Sifi wondered whether he had actually harmed Lydia in this era. Jog confessed his deep regret for doing so. Wanting to know why Jog was at war with Vavayat, Sifi learned there was a personal secret forcing their confrontation. Jog revealed the god had commanded him to destroy this world. Seeing this, Sifi felt the mission to save Lydia and the war were unrelated. Yet Jog was cursed to lose allies, and Sifi knew he would lose Lydia if he opposed Ortegan. Unable to bear this, Sifi chose to turn a blind eye. Joge was furious that Sifi hadn't spoken sooner. If he had Lydia, wouldn't have charged into enemy territory alone, leading to defeat and making enemies of the entire world. Unable to live with that guilt, Jog ended this incarnation, only to be reincarnated as Akmito. Despite this, he gave up everything, believing himself a harbinger of endless sins. Jog resolved to become the world's despised villain, ultimately being defeated by Lydia. Now, he desperately wanted to atone alongside Sifi. As Nephi was about to abandon his two companions to follow Jog, Lydia's voice shook him back. Jog granted Nephi more time to decide and asked him to meet in the land of destruction in 3 days to give his answer. The next day, Nephi asked Latima what she would do if forced to choose Lydia's life over all else. Latima replied without hesitation she would do whatever it took for her lord. At the dining hall, Nephi found Nephi devouring food like a starving tiger. Jin noticed his gloom and checked in with him. Nephi recalled Lydia once asking if he was the Demon King, but he had denied it. Suddenly, Lydia arrived and invited him to spend the day exploring the city with her. After savouring earthly delicacies, Lydia shifted to teasing, calling him a good girl's fool, and urging him to charm a few more girls to become a true warrior. Nephi called her silly, sparking a playful fight where neither would back down. Later, Lydia asked if Nephi had released his burdens. He questioned her thoughts on reclaiming something precious at the cost of everything else. Taking him to a city filled with vengeful spirits, Lydia revealed she knew she had to confront this, but had been unconsciously running from it. This place had once been solely inhabited by demons, and she had to take it over because it was strategically crucial. The locals resisted even launching night raids, so Lydia chose to eliminate all, to prevent her comrades from dying. Despite fighting fellow demons, Lydia saw herself as a murderer. Her hands stained with blood, it was no wonder others called her a monster. She longed to create a world where demons could live happily. She vowed to fight until her last breath and die tragically, feeling unworthy of anyone's salvation. Nephi asked if she thought of those left behind, but Lydia felt she needed to atone and begged him not to try changing her fate. Returning, Yena questioned where they had been. Lydia gifted the two beautiful sisters heart-shaped hairpins, while Nephi was banished to the chicken coop as Lydia's little sister. The next day, Vader and her trusty robot caused chaos on the battlefield. Olivia matched them effortlessly, sweeping through enemies with a single strike. Avato remained aloof, forcing Vavat to open the gates and suck all the monsters inside. Vavat was frustrated. His Demon King's army was as numerous as the Mongol hordes, making an assault on his fortress impossible. Meanwhile, the twin pair struggled against overwhelming enemy forces. Nephi didn't understand why Nephi vanished at such a critical moment. Suddenly, Lydia entrusted everything to a young girl and departed. Nephi was with the Demon King and refused to rescue Lydia, having uncovered her wish to atone for the sins she caused. The Demon King then unleashed his power to confront Nephi. Lydia vows to fight until her last breath, feeling unworthy of salvation. The hero questions whether she considers the feelings of those left behind, but she believes she must atone for her sins and asks him not to interfere with her fate. Upon returning, Yena confronts them about their whereabouts, and Lydia gifts both women heart-shaped hair clips, while Nephi, being Lydia's sister, is playfully relegated to the chicken coop. The following day, Vida and his trusty robotic aide stir up chaos on the battlefield while Olivia effortlessly sweeps through the enemy ranks with a single blow. End of provided text segment. Meanwhile, Vavat, annoyed by the overwhelming forces of the Demon King, realizes he cannot assault the enemy's stronghold under these conditions. As the duo grapples with numerous foes, Lydia unexpectedly leaves the fray, entrusting everything to the younger warrior. At this moment, the hero stands with the Demon King, refusing to rescue Lydia, having understood her desire for atonement for her past actions. Thus, the Demon King unleashes a surge of power to confront the impending threat. As the battle raged, Iena struggled fiercely, her spirit nearly breaking. Suddenly, Latimer arrived with urgent news the commander had seen through the Demon King's true nature and ordered their immediate deployment to seize the castle. To keep the operation covert, he withheld this from Yenna and Ginny. The commander suspected the Demon King's immortality stemmed from a forbidden soul-splitting magic, sealing his essence into a secret intermediary point. But the caster and the intermediary point must remain within a fixed distance. Destroying this point would strip the Demon King of his immortality. Thus, the commander entrusted them with the mission to annihilate it. Latima explained that the battle led by Vavat was a classic feint strike east attack west, and revealed two secret paths into the castle that the commander had uncovered. Yenna was puzzled why she was chosen for such a critical task. Ginny urged her to stay strong, warning that showing fear would only disappoint the commander. Regaining her resolve, Yenna prepared for battle. Suddenly, an enemy ambush forced Latimer to command them to proceed ahead. Meanwhile, Vader maintained the upper hand against the foes, with Avato, Olivia, and Siffi escorting enemies out of Ashfair. At the same moment, Yena and Ginny discovered the intermediary point. As they attempted to destroy it, Latima's binding magic ensnared them. The Demon King, watching everything unfold, demanded the commander join his ranks if he wished to spare his hostages. Jogue had already read the commander's thoughts and understood Lydia's desires, but he bore the weight of sins he had inflicted upon her forever. Resolute, the Demon King vowed to save Lydia, even if it meant pushing the world toward ruin. Seeing the commander hesitate, the Demon King promised not to harm Yena or Ginny. Yet as Vavat's soldiers closed in on the castle, danger loomed over them. Latimer revealed her actions were for Lydia's sake. They were mere pawns to manipulate the commander, so she urged obedience. Ginny, ever cautious, maintained her calm. Together, she and Yena used a special magic to break free from the bindings. Witnessing this, Latima summoned a horde of beasts to attack. But out of nowhere, Lydia appeared, sweeping the monsters away with a single slash. Thanks to a hairpin she had gifted them, her sister had pinpointed their location. Lydia implored Latima to abandon her obsession, but Latima remained stubborn. Reluctantly, Lydia stepped forward, dismantling the beasts, and finally defeating Latima. Lydia's wish was to create a world filled with laughter, and then descend into hell to bear all her sins as a true warrior. She scolded the Demon King for living in the past and ruthlessly shattered his intermediary point. Though stripped of immortality, he convinced the commander to join forces. The commander questioned whether Jogue truly wanted to save Lydia, or was merely seeking redemption from his own sins, since all his actions were selfish. Unlike the commander who came to protect Lydia's hopes, Jogue admitted his desire for redemption, but could not deny his genuine feelings for her. As Jogue unleashed his power, the commander transformed into his fused beast form, and they charged into an intense clash. Jogue confronted the commander about forgetting Lydia's final words, though the commander remembered vividly. He had promised a ceasefire to Lydia, but Lydia rejected peace, fearing the enemy would strike again, soon calling the young man a traitor. They had vowed to always share one purpose, yet the Demon King felt Lydia disregarded his feelings bitterly, telling her that he no longer cared what she wished to do. In this fierce moment, their paths of hope and despair collided, shaking the very fate of their world. Regret weighed heavy on him for the cruel words that once tore Lydia away. As he raised his hand to end her, her spirit appeared, a gentle barrier stopping Jogue in his tracks. Seizing this fragile moment, Ak struck Jogue down, then pleaded, "Remember the beautiful days with Lydia, and please stop this fight." For the first time, Ak glimpsed loss and realized he had fallen for Lydia. Yet Ak's resolve was cold. He dealt Jogue a fatal blow without mercy. Suddenly, the bodies of Jogue and his two friends began to glow with a mysterious light. Somehow, Lydia sensed the time had come for them to depart. She longed to know if in the future they would live in laughter and peace. Ginny and Jenna spoke in unison. All would find happiness, bringing Lydia a quiet comfort. With a heavy heart, she entrusted them with a message for Ak. On the battlefield, someone rushed to inform Vavat that the enemy was retreating. Vavat immediately declared victory to his troops. Lydia arrived, telling Vavat that Ak had returned to his world. There Ak reunited with a god and questioned the god's true purpose. The young man offered no answer, only declaring himself an ally. After the trio was sent back to the present, Yena delivered Lydia's message, assuring that no matter the storms ahead, their friendship would endure. Ak felt Lydia's spirit urging him forward to live this life fully. And so, this anime's journey comes to an end. If you found this story moving, please hit like and subscribe. For now,